Rec Cats. Time to put on your rec hat. It's time for Rec Chat. Got some fire bars going today. My name's Scott Flickinger. I'm the director of intramural sports and the building director for the Noise Community Rec Center at Cornell University. And today we will be talking about esports here on Rec Chat. First and foremost, before we begin, would really like to thank NERSA for the opportunity to have this space and have this discussion. If you're not following NERSA, please follow them on the social medias at Instagram and Twitter at NERSA Live. You could also follow us on Rec Chat as well. We are also on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok as well at Rec Chat, RECCHAT. So, without further ado, I've introduced myself. We have a nice panel today of individuals that are going to discuss esports with us. And just to let everybody know, this is not going to be a 101 esports discussion like what is an esport? How do I esport? That is what Professor Google is for. All right. So go ahead, get into the Google, make sure that you're up to date on what esports are. But we're going to have a little more in-depth discussion about some of the aspects of esports for today. And we're going to go ahead and get started with some introductions. So we're going to go in alphabetical order by first name. Let's see if our behind the scenes person, Sam Trapp from Tulane University, shout out to him for manning the behind the scenes stuff. Let's see if he knows what order everybody is in terms of alphabetical order, first name, and we'll do some introductions. So why don't you go ahead, give us your name, institution, and why you're participating in this discussion.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Anna Deleon. I'm the Esports Graduate Assistant here at Texas A&M University San Antonio. I handle a lot of our daily operations, facility management, and team management for our varsity esports program. And I'm kind of up here with NERSA for the Rec Chat, talking about esports, seeing if I can help other universities that are starting a varsity esports program and give them a little bit more information about, what it takes behind the scenes for an esports team. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikki Vance. I use she, her pronouns. I am the coordinator of intramural sports and youth camps at the University of Oregon, and I also serve as the chair of the NERSA Esports Task Force. So really excited just to talk a little bit more about esports, some opportunities not only on your campus, but on a national level as well for some of your participants.
Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Glennon, and I'm the Assistant Director of Programs with Campus Rec at University of Illinois, Chicago. I started in my role 4 years ago as the advisor of our sport club program, and our competitive gaming club is one of our registered student organizations on campus. It was about 4 years ago that we started the conversation to bring an esports program and space on campus. And so we have used this organization to really spearhead the discussions, the conversations, and I'm happy to say that we're able to launch our esports program and space in January 2022. So hopefully I can bring in an administrative oversight of what implementation for those spaces looks like.
Hey everyone, my name is Zach Gentz. I'm the current program coordinator for sports programs and kids camp at Arizona State University, and also serve as vice chair of the NERSA Esports Task Force. Reason I'm here today, I don't directly work with any sort of esports program directly. I have a club here, but a big event I am a part of here is our GameCon at our university that brings in the whole community here and is one of the premier esports events for East Valley and Arizona. And so it's a big passion of mine and looking to help keep it growing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introductions. It's an honor and a privilege to be talking with you all today. So let's get into the questions now. So question number one, and we're going to send this over to Nikki and then Sam and then Zach. So I have a bias, and I think that esports has a direct benefit to our students in campus recreation as well as collegiate recreation across campuses. So tell me, from your experiences, what have you seen in terms of the benefits of having an esports program on your campus?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest benefits of having esports programs, or in my case, esports intramurals, is the social aspect of getting people involved and connecting them with other individuals. One of the things at the national level that we also saw last year during our first NERSA esports tournament was that participants were engaging with students from their schools, really getting a chance to game with them and talk to them in our Discord and just make some of those connections. And so social interaction, I think, is one of the biggest benefits to esports programs.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. I will add to what Nikki mentioned, and just watching these students be able to build the connections, the friendships, the way that they are creative and what they want to offer as an esports community. So I have the ability to provide our students the autonomy to really get creative behind the scenes and what they want the esports program to look like. And for example, we implemented fight nights on Friday nights throughout the semester. We also have game nights, and then we have both competitive and a recreational branch of our esports program. And then we have connected at least 4,000 students this fall semester on our campus through their Discord. And then as a part of my role to justify why we need esports on campus, to bring it back to the higher ed administrative purpose, we have shown an 80% retention rate of our students participating in our competitive gaming club that return to campus at UIC. So.
Yeah, I think the social aspect is a huge part and a huge benefit, but also the fact that it's new experiences. Focusing on a lens of, like Nikki mentioned, intramurals and esports, right? It brings people to a space they may not normally use. Not everyone is, going to play basketball or use play sports or go to the gym traditionally, right? But if we host those events in there, we've seen a huge increase where most of our esports programs are showing, at the first time we do them, 70% first time entry into our facility, which is a huge benefit just to get people in the door and see what is available to them and have them form new friendships in new areas.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Next question. And this question is going to go to Anna and then to Nikki and to Sam. So it's not easy to start up a program, whether it's at an intramural level, a club level, a varsity level, even for esports. So just kind of discuss with us some of the pitfalls or some of the setbacks that you have encountered in terms of not just starting an esports program at whatever level, via intramurals through varsity, but also growing it and maintaining it as well. What are some of those big ouch points or some of those pinch points that you've experienced?
So for us personally at Tamusa, one of our biggest pitfalls was actually how limited our resources were, especially since we didn't start out with a gaming club at all. We didn't really have anything like that on our campus. We pretty much went straight from no esports, no gaming, all the way to the varsity level. So we had about a year where we just did straight research for our program, and it took a lot of work. It took a whole committee with student reps, with different administrators, going to NACE, to different conferences, holding exhibition tournaments to see what kind of interest we had on campus. And of course, uh, without even having a club, we really didn't have PCs, we didn't have the equipment, we didn't really have anyone interested that's going out and marketing this varsity program. So it was really bringing together what we could and using what we could to the best of our advantage. That, and I would say the learning curve. There really wasn't a lot of admin that had experience on the professional level. Sure, there was a lot of people that had experience with video games. They loved video games. It was their hobby. But having someone, an admin, a student that can really spearhead the project and tell us this is what you need for esports, this is what you need for a program, for a varsity program, for academics to be successful, for students to be successful, for the program on a competitive level to be successful. It was very limited for us.
I think adding on to that, as well as you start to build, your program in any sort of program that you're building, where it's going to be competitive, you want to make sure that you have a safe and welcoming space. And for us, esports was a little different because you don't have officials or referees monitoring those games. You may have people monitoring the Discord or monitoring certain chats, but in game, you typically don't have people watching. And so ensuring that you're really providing a safe space for everyone, and that you're getting a diverse group of individuals who feel comfortable coming and participating in your program, on your team, for your tournament, and just making sure that they feel comfortable, and that it's very well known that you are not going to put up with, any sort of bullying or harassment through the chat. I think when we think of online, sometimes, the keyboard warriors, as people like to call them, come out. And so just really ensuring that you don't have any of that negativity in your program and that everyone feels like they can come and be welcomed and accepted.
So I'll actually touch on more of building out of space, and finding a space on an institution's campus is something that we struggled with. So like I mentioned previously, we've been in conversation to build out an esports space for 4 years, and that's a really long time. And I feel that it's lucky that I've actually just been in this position to keep the conversation going. But if you have a lot of turnover, if you don't have administration that supports and understands the reasoning and the justification to do a build out like this for our students, then you will definitely run into a lot of roadblocks, a lot of red tape. I work at a public institution, so for those that also work at public institutions, I'm sure we come into the same obstacles, especially when we are working with trades. There's a lot of moving parts that I didn't even consider when it comes to electrical work. We actually we converted our conference room in the rec center to an esports room as a pilot space before we advocate for a larger space in our new student center that will be being built in a couple of years. And so with that, just reconfiguring the electrical, but they have to come in before the painters, and then getting all of the software and vetting the software systems. What do you want to see in the space? How many gaming stations in the space? And so there are so many questions that you need to know and ask, because essentially the upper level administration who are approving these purchases or these decisions are not as well knowledged in this area. So if there are any questions, I encourage you to reach out to me. We just went through it for really, years. So yeah.
Awesome. So we're talking esports here, Rec Chat. If you have questions, if you're following along out in the internet land out there, you can also ask us questions on Twitter or on Instagram. Just give us the shout out with the hashtag RecChat, RECCHAT. We'll try and answer those questions. Next question coming up here, and this one's going to start with Sam, then go to Zach and Anna. So you already discussed a little bit about some knowledge points in terms of things that you find helpful in terms of starting, growing, and maintaining a program. So what are some of the key knowledge points an administrator or a coach, if you have coaches or are a coach, should have when working with an esports program to grow it and keep it successful once it's begun?
Yeah, so I have 4 main points. The first one is to delegate. It is extremely difficult to tackle and take an esports program on all by yourself. And so if you have other full-time staff that you can lean on to help offset that load, I encourage you. If you can't hire any full-time staff, then please use your students. They are more than willing to give their input on what they would like to see in spaces or what the program is supposed to look like at your campus. So every campus is different. And so I encourage you to do that. And so the second piece then filters into ask. We included our students in every single decision. We got their input on every single purchase, layout, decision, and we actually were wrong in like 99% of the things that we thought that the students actually wanted, and in reality it wasn't. And so I encourage you to ask. They're your biggest stakeholders. They're the reason that we're doing this. So please include them in those conversations. The third piece is know your role. So I'm their advocate. My purpose is to justify why we have an esports program and to make sure that it stays successful. And so I'm their voice. I need to be transparent with both the students as well as the administration. And I need to collect the data and assess to strengthen the why behind our purpose on being on a college campus. And then the third one, or the fourth one, I'm sorry, is the autonomy and accountability piece. So I advise the competitive gaming club, but I give them full autonomy over what their program looks like. However, I still hold them accountable for what I need them to do, making sure that they're meeting deadlines. We've also created a very strong leadership outline for them to be successful in the communication. So what that looks like on each institution is totally going to be different. But it took us about a year to figure out what a true hierarchy of the organization looks like, with me being at the top, who are my 3 officers that will then be the liaison between myself and the club. Then who are their coach, so their branches, who are their coaches, how many monitors do they have? Their coaches, the officers, and their rear monitors are not they're not players, so they can't compete competitively. We also have competitive team supervisors. So essentially those members are the liaison between the officers and the coaches. And that just helps keep everything organized, making sure that payments are made on time for them to get into leagues. They're updating their attendance and so on and so forth. So I encourage you to have those conversations with the team that you build around yourself in the program. And also just be able to give them the autonomy needed to make a program successful.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I mean, all that's great and very important, and I 100% agree with it. I would also say don't try to recreate the wheel. Obviously, esports is very different from a lot of sports, but at the end of the day, it is a sport. We have the framework for plenty of successful sport clubs across the nation, and what they do, and other sports as well. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. At the end of the day, esports has sports right in the name. Treat it as such, and you'll have a lot of success that way, I think.
Going along with what Sam and Zach said, um, that's all great for the professional side, and I would say for the cultural side of the program, you have to keep the same passion for the sport, for esports that the students have. I mean, the program is more about student success than anything else, than money and recognition and competitive wins. um, the more you're on board with what you're doing and you show that you care and you're knowledgeable about the program, the more the students will appreciate what you do. And just like Sam said, they're more than willing to help with anything that you have. Even having student leadership programs within the program, within esports, having captains, having team managers, having analytical coaches, uh, getting professionals is great, but even more so, training students in those roles, getting them ready to be in those professional aspects of the program, that's even better, and I would say even more beneficial for the team, for maintaining and growing it and seeing it become successful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very insightful information there. Let's go to the next question now. Zach, this is going to be directed to you and then to Anna and to Nikki. So it gets kind of daunting, especially when you are beginning a program where there are spaces that have potentially already been created by groups of students for esports. Um, how do you get to those spaces, such as Discord servers, for example? How do you get to those spaces and then communicate with those individuals about programming, or just communicate like, hey, we want to collaborate or have these opportunities? What is your game plan in terms of that?
Flick, I think you already alluded to it a little bit there, is, showing your worth. Like, why is this valuable for you to come in and be a part of this? Why is it valuable to have that collaboration? What we've done here is just develop great relationships. Most every student group here, I think, at ASU has some kind of Discord, right? And for our esports program, they're definitely no exception. In fact, they're probably the leaders in it. They have an alumni base of probably 2,000 or more here, and so it's a very daunting task to get them to serve in a community that's that structured and built up for years and years and years, and how to navigate that. But we've shown why we're valuable to them, and been able to share opportunities and give them opportunities as well, to thrive. So I think it's all about proving, you belong there and what value you can bring to their group, because at the end of the day, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, the same for us, showing that you have value on the campus. For us, it was a little bit easier. There wasn't many official Discord servers across our campus. Now that we kind of started that trend for our esports group, a lot of other departments have kind of seen the value in having Discord servers, how it brings together students and creates valuable engagement for the campus. Um, I mean, the people that are interested in esports, whether as a player or viewer, are already in these spaces. We just have to utilize these tools, create value that they can't get anywhere else. For us, we kind of offer the students a chance to come together as a whole gaming community and get to know one another on campus. And from that, it kind of grew into other departments where our student government has a Discord that students can be active in. They can have their voice heard within student government. Even clubs like volleyball or intramurals, they have their own Discord. So it's really about just creating community and giving them something that they didn't have before.
And I think, kind of going off what Zach and Anna have both said, they've made some great points. But if it's something that you haven't maybe used Discord in the past, or you don't want to feel like you're infiltrating a Discord that already exists, I know in a previous role, I relied heavily on some of my students who maybe were already in that space, to help welcome others into that space, or to kind of get the lay of the land, figuring out how their particular Discord operated, and how it was utilized or used. I know some may be more informational, and others really do have that chat feature where people are talking every time. But I don't want to go into a conversational Discord and start making announcements. Like, that doesn't fit. And so using what's already been established and your students who may be in that server already, and really relying on them to help you set the tone and to make sure that you are, naturally fitting into their community that they've already built.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Again, we're talking esports here on Rec Chat. If you have questions, you can get to us on Twitter and on Instagram. Just make sure you use the hashtag Rec Chat to ask your question. So, next questions going to Anna, Nikki, and Sam. So, we talked about this a little bit already in terms of keyboard warriors and such, creating the spaces for diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, esports has generally been dominated by a certain group of individuals with similar traits. So it's been a white male. It's been a white male world in terms of uh, esports for the longest time. Luckily, we've got groups such as Queer Women of Esports that are starting to make and take spaces so that we're providing opportunities for everybody to feel involved and to feel welcome in this community. So my question to you is, in terms of creating this space on a campus, whether it's on the intramural level, club, or varsity level, are we doing anything to do that? And if we are, what are we doing to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to do esports and feel like they should be there and should be involved there?
So I would say baseline, for us at least, we have no tolerance rules for things such as hate speech. There's clauses in our handbook for Dean of Students and Title IX. I feel like that's the baseline for every student, whether it's club, varsity, whatever it is. They should know that there's consequences for, going online, hiding behind, Discord servers, hiding behind gamer tags, what they say to other people, whether in game, in Discord, on Twitch. uh you know there's consequences for those types of things. It's also just about creating a strong sense of community within your own program. um having events for marginalized groups. I mean, for us, we kind of take Women's Empowerment Month, which I believe is in March. We kind of use that entire month to have different events to encourage more women to get into the program, recruit women, get them to have even just casual gameplay in streams, so that they can see that there's a space for them in this program, as well as keeping our entire facility uh, handicap accessible, making sure that the doors have that kind of accessibility, making sure, wire cable management that's important for handicap as well. Just making sure that you have these kind of implementations within your program, even thinking of the small details, that can really help and go a long way for your program.
I think Anna really hit the nail on the head with that. It's creating that culture where people know that it's not acceptable to speak or say things that aren't appropriate, and having that zero tolerance policy. And then also really intentionally recruiting individuals or intentionally marketing to certain groups that maybe you're currently missing. And then just making sure that you're giving everyone the opportunity to participate regardless of their ability level or their previous experience. And so I know one of the things that the NERSA tournament is really proud of is our unified division that we're excited to continue working with Special Olympics on, and just providing opportunities for athletes and their partners, while also educating people more on what unified sports are and what Special Olympics is. And so making sure that you're hitting all of those groups that maybe haven't had the chance in the past to feel comfortable or feel like they were welcomed into that space.
Yeah, those are excellent points. I will simply add for a departmental level, we actually revisited our mission statement of our department, and we added an inclusivity statement to our unit based off of the university's strategic EDI practices. And so with that, any decision that we make in regards to programming services or facility spaces, we keep those pieces in mind to ensure that we do stay inclusive and provide welcoming spaces. And so when we created the esports space, it is not only just for our competitive CGC club, but it's also for open recreation. So anybody is open to come in and use the space. Additionally, our intramural sports program, it will be able to use the space for any programs that they would like to offer. We not only have PC stations, but we also have a gaming console area. So it adds a diverse, just kind of across the board. And then I've challenged our competitive gaming club to do more specialized events, very similar to what Anna mentioned earlier, as a part of a branch off for their regular, we have event coordinators within the club. And so they focus on the general campus community to just try to include as many people as possible into a space that is welcoming and for anyone. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those answers. Next question. This is going to go to Nikki and then to Sam and to Zach. So, when you're out recruiting and looking for individuals to be a part of your programs for esports, what are some spaces where you went and found some success and thought, I would have never thought to have tried there, but here we are, and we've got a lot of success with this?
Yeah, I think that this is something that a lot of people struggle with. just trying to find groups that want to get involved and making sure that they stay involved. So we talked about like EDI a little bit earlier, but being really intentional, reaching out to maybe populations that you currently don't serve or haven't historically served, and talking to them, and really emphasizing, your community and what you're emphasizing with your group, and then reaching out to them. I also think that one of the biggest things that I found having success in recruiting is talking to my students who are in that space and being like, who am I missing and where can I find them? Because I don't necessarily always know those things, but my students can really be like, hey, I think that we should hit up this group, or we should advertise here, or this is an area that we're missing. And they've been really insightful in helping us find spaces on campus where we were missing populations who would want to be involved or would be interested.
I have absolutely no idea what you all have on your campus, but there is an IT area in our bookstore that has just some gaming consoles, and it is so popular for just like drop-in play where students are in between classes. We also are so that is one location where we go and put up our flyers like, hey, we're having an intramural esport event, and we get so many people to register just by putting up a flyer in the bookstore IT area. And then we also have our involvement fairs are a very popular thing just on campus. And so with our CGC club, if you don't have a club, I would essentially then just market esports piece to a table if your department can participate in that. We get thousands of students that walk by our tables, and then we are our commuter student population is about 85% of our total student body, and so we have a commuter resource center that it's a space for students to go when they're on campus, in between classes or work or wherever the case may be. And they also have the ability to have gaming consoles, and just people are just hanging out doing homework, and just a space. But it was a unique space for us to reach out to. You could definitely use that. So those are some spaces that we found success at with our institution.
Yeah, all that is same stuff I would do. I would add on too that here at ASU, we have a program that is for first gen college students. And so finding and partnering with them to find, because a lot of time first gen students don't know what to do on campus or what their resources are, have never even heard of what kind of clubs they can join, right? And so if we're here to say that community is one of the number one things, like we all said, that comes out of esports programs, what better way to build that than showing people that? So I definitely would find, if you have some kind of office or something on your campus that speaks directly to or represents first gen students, finding a way to reach out to them and getting involved with that to find new students.
Awesome. Again, we're Rec Chat. We're talking esports right now. Next question. I'm going to direct this to Sam and then to Zach and then to Anna. So depending on what type of game or games you're playing, they tend to ebb and flow in terms of popularity. So one game that's popular 1 month might die off and not be something that students are involved with the next month. There are some games that have a long-standing popularity. Some that such as League of Legends, Dota, etc., things that we've seen for a long time, and they still have strong followings. So my question to you all now is, what do you do in terms of that popularity, that ebb and flow for games? What do you do to keep your programs fresh and to make sure that people stay involved?
It's like, I know I'm repeating myself, but it is so important. You do need to talk to the students before you put in all of this work to try to have an intramural sport, a league of maybe Rocket League, and Rocket League is no longer popular, for just an example. And so please talk to your students before you do the legwork, put anything out there. But we all work in higher education, so things are constantly not going the way that we would like them to go or as fast that we would like them to go. So being flexible and willing to adjust. I do think that the esports community has a lot of free available streaming services, a lot of bigger gaming libraries that you guys can access with Steam or Ubisoft or Epic Games. All of those libraries, they are free. So I do think that those are some good outlets and software systems that you guys can look into if you're not sure how to start or where to start. And I think that that would help with the ebb and flow of the changes. But yeah, I think that was...
Yeah, of course, the student input is a huge piece, as always. This is for the students. We're here for the students, and that's the main piece. But, like I said, building it like a sport, we also have some unique challenges. Basketball, the NBA doesn't have a patch update where they change the, accuracy of someone's three-point shot or the effectiveness of the pick and roll, right? That doesn't happen as often as it does in esports. And games come and go, and that's fine. I mean, there's no better evidence if you want to look what's currently happening now is look at the history of Halo as an esport, right? Now we have another LAN event, and every pro on the scene, every organization is getting involved, right? And students are buying into that. I think I am, at least. I'm excited to see it. So educate yourself on it. Go out there, as Sam said. There's plenty of free platforms where this is all going on. Look into stuff, learn the game, right? I'd never had a patch rugby. I didn't even know really how to play rugby or anything about it. It was the first sport as a student I supervised, and that started a knowledge base there. Go out, watch these, play a free game, even if you're not good. What is enjoyable about it? Just some education on our part is always needed.
Yeah, I completely agree with Sam and Zach. It's pretty much just a needs assessment, an interest assessment, consistently talking to your players, to your gaming community, to know what games they're interested in. And it's also about, the skill level that they're at for those games. Um, for us before, if we didn't have a certain game because maybe there wasn't the skill level for it, as games get more popular on your campus, as you continue to encourage gameplay on your campus, the skill will be there and eventually competition will be there. It's also about offering new programming and events each year, keeping them interested. 1 year you'll have a club, another few years you'll have a varsity team, and from the varsity team you'll have maybe a content creation program or a student leadership program. It's just about offering new opportunities every year. Um, and new competitions, just like games come and go. They get added, rules get changed, just like Zach said. Games get patch notes. The game can keep going pretty much year round. So it kind of goes on itself, basically. Needs assessments and interest assessments are I would say are the major things for keeping an esports program fresh.
Awesome. All right, last question, and I'm going to put this to everybody, but we're going to start with Zach and then go to Anna, Nikki, and then Sam. So there's so many myths about esports, about the type of individual that plays esports, about what esports is all about. Please dispel your worst myth that you've heard about esports.
Well, first off, on Flick's point, in high school, I was a walking example of a myth. I was the high school basketball player and played a ton of video games, and that was not something that happened. But I think one of the worst ones is that the people that do this care about nothing else. They're moody, they're grouchy. Look, obviously, we're not going to condone any type of overuse. Just the same as we see someone coming in the gym to do 3 a days for 3 hours a day, and they're here 9 hours working out. Like, come on now, we're not going to look past that. That doesn't, I don't even know how to put this because it's so simple to me. But there's not a type of person. There's no type of person that fits into this category. It's everyone. Just because you look at the pro levels right now and it's 85%, esports is still really in its infancy as a large, major broadcasted thing to everybody, right? And also we look at access and how expensive PCs and gaming consoles are, right? There's no type of person that fits into this. Everyone can have this. They just need the access to it to show that they belong.
Exactly what Zach said. A lot of people have the idea that an esports athlete looks a certain way, or they're a certain group, or more popularly, esports athletes are not real athletes. That's something that I've heard a lot in our sports programs, going out to like sports marketing classes, things like that. They're not real athletes. Esports is kind of like a lazy sport. When in actuality, it takes just as much practice, just as much training, just as much mental as any other traditional sport. Another myth that I kind of see often on campuses, or at least in programs in general, is that uh, women aren't interested in gaming or esports, and that may be true on a competitive level, but um, as the casual side, once we started a content crew program, we saw applications for women skyrocket. I mean, they were way more interested in the casual streaming, broadcast, even management side of esports. There's a lot of women interested in gaming and in esports. Maybe you won't see it as much on the competitive side right now, but as Zach said, esports is really in its infancy. As you grow more within casual gameplay and management roles for women, eventually it's going to translate into competitive roles as well.
I think definitely kind of going off what the past two have said, one of the biggest myths that I think that we see, especially from like a higher ed or campus rec standpoint, is that we talk a lot about healthy lifestyles and wellness, and people will say that it doesn't promote healthy lifestyles because, you know, generally speaking, in esports, you're sitting in front of a computer. But I think that completely neglects the social and the mental aspects of the wellness wheel, if that's what we're looking at, and all that that can do for participants' mental health, their stress levels, and also, like we said, for that social interaction. And I think that with the pandemic, we've seen kind of a shift in that mentality. So I hope that it's something that's going away, because people really were able to see the benefits of the social and the mental aspects of that. And so I hope it's something that, you know, we hear less and less about, but I still think it's kind of a misconception.
I was 100% going to say what Nikki said. So I am in full agreement there. I will then just add another common myth that I think that I actually was probably one. So watching others play video games is boring. That actually, we have seen it kind of blew my mind when we first implemented this. So I mentioned fight nights. So we have fight nights every Friday throughout the entire academic year, and it's from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. in our student center, and we have these huge TV screens, and we have people sign up and they compete. So we'll have a different game that plays every week. They'll compete, but there are over 100 spectators that come out to these events every single Friday, and it's not. Yeah, it's fun to watch, but again, I think we go back to that community piece, and you're building this sense of just a welcoming space for anybody to come. Like, you don't even have to know what's going on in the game, and it would still be entertaining because you're with peers that are also interested in the same things, or the game. They have a passion for this sport. So I encourage you, if you are interested in trying to gain traction of an esports program on your campus, to do like fight nights, or you can stream your competitive teams play and do watch parties. Those are super popular. So if you have the space and the ability to do so, I would encourage you to. You might surprise yourself.
I frankly love watching games, like to a point where I'm on a Twitch channel or I'm on YouTube clips of, like, especially older games where I'm like, I've never beaten this game. Could you please beat this game for me so I can see what the ending looks like? There's a certain calming effect that it has with me, and I love that so much. Before we sign off here, I would love to tap Nikki and Zach, because there is a NERSA esports competition coming this February, and I'd love to have them give some more information about how to participate, as well as an opportunity to be a part of the tournament on the administrative side as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the NERSA Esports tournament this year will once again feature Rocket League. This is going to be our second annual esports competition, and we are very excited about it. We will have 3v3 and 1v1 Rocket League, both recreational and competitive levels determined off your rank in the game. And then we will also have a 3v3 unified division. And so if you go to the website listed down here, you can get all of the information. Our registration is going to open on January 17th, and it'll be open for a month and close on February 17th. And then the tournament itself is going to take place February 24th through the 26th. We had a blast last year, and we're really looking forward to it this year. And then I will toss it to Zach to talk about some shoutcaster opportunities.
Yeah, so if you don't think you're the best Rocket League player and you don't want to be involved with a tournament, just like we just talked about the streaming side of things, come help us out with the streaming side of things. On this website as well, you can find an application to be a shoutcaster. If you're not familiar with what a shoutcaster is, sorry, Flick, a little bit of Esports 101. But your analysis, color commentary, everything like that. It's a super fun experience, and it's a very, very it's a necessary part to building the excitement around this esport. And also you get the added benefit of working with Flick, who will be directing that side of things for us. Or if you're not, you don't like Flick, then I'm sorry. But I feel like most people would enjoy that experience. So back to you, Flick.
Thanks for selling me / not selling me out. I'm see that banner is still left over from months ago. Thanks for bringing that up. So impromptu question. We talk a lot about games. We talk a lot about esports, etc. Sometimes you don't get asked the personal questions about what you like. So I'm going to go in alphabetical order from A to Z in terms of tell me, what are you playing right now? In terms of your gaming, are you first-person shooter? Are you into real-time strategy, RPGs, action adventure, sports? What's your jam right now? Maybe because I'm looking for something because my tastes and attentions turn every so often. So what are you playing right now? What do you like?
So what I'm playing right now is Valorant. I've been on the Valorant grind since we had a competitive team. I'm also playing Minecraft, one of the classics, since it got an update. And something that I've always been interested in since I was in elementary school, probably too young to play it, is horror games. Actually, Resident Evil, Silent Hill, those kinds of games are my jam. And up until this day, I still play even the classic ones, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 4. And I even stream newer ones actually. So horror games are actually a pretty popular thing in my household for me, even up until this day.
So I will play Rocket League occasionally with my friends. I'm embarrassingly bad, but over the Thanksgiving break, it's not necessarily traditional, I guess, but I was introduced to Mario Golf and speed golfing, and we've had a lot of fun with that recently. Also not great. I got beat pretty bad, but it didn't take last in some of my more recent competitions. So proud of that.
So I'm not currently a gamer, but I do watch my husband play Call of Duty with the boys all the time.
Kind of like Flick, I'm all over the place in my interests. But currently, definitely on the Halo Infinite rank grind. Last night's update or yesterday's update was a heaven send bringing back SWAT. So excited to be playing that. I'm only 28, but I still got to teach these young bloods what it was like back in the Halo 2 days. But when I'm just casually sitting at my computer, I do dabble. I've played Magic the Gathering for almost 20 years now. And so if anyone's wondering where a lot of my money has gone, look no further. Sam, thank you for supporting me. And also, I need some more friends to get involved with it and find more people to play with. But I've been playing Valorant since beta. I love it. I think it's super fun, super, CSGO had such a weird ceiling to, get into an entry on it. So Valorant was, hit that spot for me.
Awesome. I'm going to throw Sam Trapp in, who is our behind the scenes person, because he has interest too. So, Sam, what is your interest right now? What's your jam in terms of gaming?
All right. So I've been moving people's heads around behind the scenes here, so I just got to toss myself on screen. Thanks for the shout out there, Flick. I've just been populating the chat as well, and I'm playing EU4 right now. It's a turn-based strategy game, and also a Magic the Gathering gamer. I did not realize I was going to be outing myself in front of the entire Nursa community, but hey, there's no better time to reignite the fire and passion that is Magic the Gathering than right now. So, Zach, I'm right there with you.
Awesome. My games of choice right now, I'm a Skyrim type person, so the open world sandbox stuff I love. So Fallout 4, I got into. I'm into Skyrim. I got into Subnautica, No Man's Sky. I love The Witcher. Um, uh, basically, all those type games. I also got into real-time strategy a little bit, so I'm an XCOM person as well. I love XCOM 2. Play that a lot as well. But hey, to each their own. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for your insight in terms of esports and e-gaming for our campuses. This has been Rec Chat with Esports. Again, you can follow us online. You can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Rec Chat. Please also follow NERSA Live as well. So NERSA, our organization, on Instagram and Twitter as well at NERSA Live. RecChat also has a TikTok channel as well. You can follow us at RecChat there as well. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for watching. And we hope to see you in the new year. Take care of yourself and have a great holiday and great break.